Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, good evening again. Good evening to all of you, all. You are once again the welcome to this new conference, Geopolitics, dedicated to current events international. In the news on the side of the Republic of Côte Ivory Coast, France is very, very worried. France is worried. It is in a kind of beginning of panic. She's not panicking yet. These are worries, but worries legitimate because what France is seeing, or at least what the France saw this October 13th, 2025, from the side of the Republic of Ivory Coast, it is very serious. This suggests that the France risks losing everything if the power switches. So, the ban on demonstrations on the Ivory Coast side was the trigger for everything that we are seeing. And more need to remind that the day of the 13th October 2025 was a very, very special day, loaded on the side of the Republic of Côte of Ivory Coast. The protesters came out. There was overflows. They came out. There has had overflows. We have already saw the schools emptied, the main roads were blocked. For the moment, the demonstrations have not won the whole territory national, but Abidjan in several corners. It's hot. And the blue slogan Conto, okay, as in the image of this which happened recently in France, is gaining momentum. But the way in which it's gaining momentum, the determination of elements that come out of the people, Ivorian, we will say it like that, even if it was the opposition that called for go out. The way it is taking, it worries the French diet. Why the diet worried French? And already it must be said that when the French regime is worried, also worries. The president Ouattara is worried. He is worried. Why? Because obviously the France should not be uncomfortable. There you go, since we know how Ouattara came to power, how the France also played a role and continues to do so. To play a big role, a very big one role in the stability of the regime, of the power of Alassane Ouattara. So France is worried why the turn that the situation is taking to take. There are helmets that have started all things that are not recognized by, how are we going to say that? By Ivorian texts. You can go out and demonstrate freely, but break things setting fire to all, that is another twist. It's starting to look like a little gradually to a kind of insurrection popular. For the moment, we are not still at this level, but it's starting to tend towards there. If and only if the demonstration continues until tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, if the mobilized ones actually follow the order that was given, the call which was launched by the opposition policies, we risk to ultimately witness a kind of popular insurrection. And so if this should happen, much interest from France would be at stake. France's interest would be at stake game, because if the people manage to really revolt, and knowing that it is France which is behind everything, but listen, it would be perhaps like what happened spent within the US. It will be even worse, since at the bone level, the people came out to demonstrate. There was no damage. People were demonstrating freely and then said what they thought via placards. But in the Ivorian case, we is already witnessing the destruction of property and anything that we don't encourage, huh? There you go. But what remains clear, when the people are revolted, they become uncontrollable. And that's what we are in the process of seeing, what is happening near Abidjan. So France has a lot of interest in Ivory Coast side, many companies in Ivory Coast, and many of investments. This is why France fights Morducus, so that Ouattara continues to remain at power. But if it continues like this, France is afraid today of seeing these populations revolted to attack, obviously to his own good. There you have it. France has several Total stations. You know that Total Energy belongs to France, and this company, which started to fall in Africa and who was even forced to resell its shares on the side of the Mauritania very recently. It is a company that brings in a lot of money, financial means for France. However, you know that France only looks at its personal interest, his interest. When the regime that is there suits the interests of France, France continues to stay with you. But if the regime threatens the interests of France, France puts its interests first. If one man must be sacrificed, France can do it. So today, the France is very worried about the turn of events that the situation is developing take. And this worry is obviously, is it that at times the effect of contagion of what happened in the AS, the ideology that is in the AS, will the contagion effect not definitely not push these populations who come out to demonstrate, since the opposition said that it is necessary go out every day to demonstrate until G-Day. However, the demonstrations are prohibited, really forbidden. So defy the order prohibition and go out. What are we going to face? Canisters of tear gas. Some will run, they will get hurt, and this which creates frustration. Others will start to break. Others have started breaking the tables ban. Everything that they find at the side of the road, there they go, they set it on fire. Even if it must say that that is why, that is not. It doesn't hurt the government, it hurts. That's because that's what belongs to populations. So, but despite everything, there is a big fear who is there to see that things are getting out of hand. The government is trying to reassure that everything is fine. The police, the gendarmerie, security forces are in the process of do their job. But deep down, this is not it. This is not who we are seeing. And so France has really scared. Before continuing the conference, I ask you to share this video to the maximum. Put a lot of likes. That's it. And always leave an opinion in the comments. And if you are new here, please click on subscribe to subscribe. And this allows you to never miss our video conferences. So France is very worried, according to some observers. Information that is not from elsewhere confirmed for the moment, and Macron would be blaming his Ivorian counterpart Ouattara, the nature of the current repression since the way whose demonstrations are underway to be repressed. It is in the process of create frustration within populations, and they are demonstrators who are not armed, facing to security forces who are armed. So according to several observers, Emmanuel Macron is reportedly putting the pressure on Ouattara in order to be able to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. We must prevent this from getting out of hand, because if it degenerates, it will be in also and above all to the disadvantage of France. There you go. So to make sure that in any case, Ouattara has two choices. Either he let people go out freely demonstrate without them making any breakages and so on. That is to say, we lift the ban that they make their demonstration at the image of those who are in the process of to carry out their campaign, their propaganda policy, or to solve the problem as soon as possible. But such a situation, this already discourages investors at the time. We are in the process of talk a lot of foreigners who would like to leave Ivory Coast. Even those who are there, Ivorians and foreigners in Côte d'Ivoire from Ivory Coast, many are in the process of leave, all the more those who want to enter. As everything is blocked, the system is paralyzing itself little by little. And that's what is doing a lot of harm to France. And so here it is, what to say about this news. So thank you all and all. I'll come back to you later. We'll continue to follow the information, and then what will come of it, we will come back to talk about it. Thank you. It was the voice of your only servant, the Samouraï. Amen.